You're about to witness two strangers meet for the first time. One has been working for almost 30 years. The other is just 30 days into a first internship.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
But first, a look at what brought us here. Oak Ridge is in a unique position for many reasons. More than a third of the environmental management workforce will be eligible to retire in the next 10 years. Future employees are out there, but how do we get them here? That's exactly what Craig Layman with Oak Ridge Institute for Science and Education does.
As a strategy for the United States, we need to invest more in that K-12 outreach, especially at the middle school outreach, because that's where we're seeing that first spark. And I know it's cliche to say this, but that STEM spark, that first hint of passion towards these areas.
The workforce pipeline begins early in Oak Ridge. The school district was the first in Tennessee and second in the world to be Cognia STEM certified.
We won a grant for $1.2 million last year for an innovative high school, and we were talking about the instructor, Dr. Mark Buckner, who is formerly from the Oak Ridge National Labs. It's not very often where a student gets taught by a person that has a master's in nuclear engineering and a PhD in artificial intelligence.
A child born here has connections that don't exist anywhere else. Derek Holstein is a product of that pipeline.
You always hear this, given our locale. You got the National Lab here, Y-12 National Security Complex, and a lot of research professors that are overlapping at University of Tennessee. So you basically have all this insider knowledge right in your back pocket as you're studying.
2 years into his career, he has been told there is plenty of work to finish here. He was prepped early on to land a position.
Kids have really good fake meters these days, and if it's not a real project, they don't have as much passion as they work on that project. So across the board, K through 12, we're engaged in project-based learning with our students.
That hands-on experience continues in college just down the road. After graduation, students can feed right into the University of Tennessee's engineering department. Just 3 years ago, the school partnered with Department of Energy contractor UCOR to create a minor in nuclear decommissioning and environmental management.
It's difficult anytime you start a new minor because they don't have anybody to talk to. Who else did this? Who can I find out that do they like this career? So for a long time, you kind of have this tunnel, and you have to explain to them what's the light at the end of the tunnel. And then finally, when you get the first group of students out and they have great experiences going to UCOR, being interns, and then getting employment, then they can come back and talk to the other students about what a great opportunity is, what a challenging career it is. And then I think the floodgates kind of open.
And they have. When companies find out what the students have learned in school, plus that real experience, it's a simple hire.
So we have a senior design, which is kind of a capstone class where we have students to get together in groups 4 or 5, and they have a project. A lot of times that project is tied in with a company. UCOR has sponsored projects, and they have a design challenge, and they work together over a whole year to develop the design, sometimes construct the design, and really try to meet the needs of the company, whoever is sponsoring it.
Right now, it's UCOR, a company at the heart of DOE's environmental cleanup mission in Oak Ridge. That's where Holstein, the first graduate of UTK's new minor, works. He's part of the life cycle of Oak Ridge, helping out with the senior design project he once completed.
It's kind of full circle, it feels like to me. 2 years ago, I was in their shoes and having the same conversations on the other side with them. It's really cool, and like I said, working with some of the same people, professors, and especially on the UCOR side, same people that I had to work with back then. It's definitely eye-opening.
The resources for young people to learn and thrive exist. They just have to know what's out there. What's out here is meaningful and impactful. Projects at Oak Ridge National Lab are eliminating inventories of nuclear material and advancing cancer treatment research. At Y-12, EM is taking down old contaminated buildings to clear land for new facilities to keep our nation's defense strong. Cleanup efforts at the East Tennessee Technology Park are honoring the past while making way for future industry. It's not all hard hats and construction. The tough part is cutting through the noise. and getting that message to the next generation. There is perhaps no one more aware of that than Layman. He's held virtual job fairs and seminars to maintain the momentum during the pandemic.
How do we brand our mission? Because right now we have a generation of graduates that will look at all the postings, USA Jobs, ORI's postings, other postings, and they're zeroing in on that mission. They're going to zero in on what's the CDC doing? What's the FDA doing with their mission? At the same time, they're doing the same thing for DOE. They're zeroing in on DOE's mission. So we got to be able to brand that appropriately.
Take our intern, Monica Johnson, for instance, who met her current boss at a community outreach event.
After talking with them, just kind of getting a feel for the communications department, exactly what they do, how the mission is facilitated in the communications department, and what exactly my role would be as an intern, that's when I was like, okay, this is a really great opportunity.
In addition to the mission, Layman says future workers want work from home opportunities, benefits, and a place they feel they belong. Dr. Harry Boston knows it. He's an expert in spotting and nabbing new talent. Last year, Boston Government Services was named to the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies list.
The challenge is, how do you attract and retain those people? Because it's a battle for talent, and you have to find people where they live. So we work hard to hunt down people from all segments of society, because again, it's a battle for talent and we want to draw everybody in. So we work particularly hard at reaching out to minority serving institutions, to all sorts of historically black and minority colleges in different social groups.
Partnerships with local universities are helping fuel the program, but it's the passion of project managers and mentors like Terdell that sells the potential to future workers.
You know, my job is really to bridge from what they've seen on calculations to actually see it in the field. And it's real fun to watch their eyes light up when they say, oh, I've done this calculation in a book or some sort of test, and this is how it really applies.
The opportunities in Oak Ridge are as sprawling as the land on which you'll find them. Though that means promising careers, for those preparing to fill the openings, it can be overwhelming.
My dream career right now, I honestly could not tell you, because at 20 years old, I still have no clue exactly what I want to do, but I do know that I want to be doing something that is people-focused, that is community-oriented, and something where I get the opportunity and the chance every single day where I'm helping bridge gaps, helping explain things to people, where I'm an interface between whatever is happening here and whatever is happening there. That's what I do know, but exactly how that would play itself out into a role, that I don't know.
For some, it's a matter of exposure to find out what opportunities exist. For others, that discovery comes on the job.
I would characterize my 30 years at DOE as a perfect match.
Retirement is just days away for David Adler, Director of Quality and Mission Support for the Department of Energy. But with the draw of the mountains, potential, and cleanup efforts leading to new opportunities, he's only perpetuating the cycle.
So you're retiring, but you're not done with this place yet?
I don't think I'm completely done with this place. I look forward to coming out here and taking advantage of some biking trails and showing friends the history, historic commemorations, and hopefully having lots of jobs to help supplement paying for the school system that my kids' hopefully will go to.
That brings us back here. Remember, around these parts, it's all about experience and everyone knows it. That's why we decided to ask Monica to interview David about his, a student and a scientist.
And were you interested in this line of work prior to starting?
I think I always was, but didn't know it. I grew up the child of scientists, actually in Oak Ridge. I also went to Oak Ridge High School.
Connections in Oak Ridge are not tough to find. Just take it from these two. Education, resources, mentors abound. The message is clear. The pipeline fueling the workforce here is stronger than ever.
What are you most excited about for maybe the next 5, 10, 20 years?
There are a lot of things I'm excited about.
And according to a guy whose job is about to open up,
It's great to meet you.
Great, you too.
the future is too.